So, a friend of mine had asked me a question, and it really made me think deeply in my heart about some things. And I went on a little tangent about marriage. So, bear with me with this one. He asked me a simple question of because we were talking about something, I can't remember what. And I told him that it feels as though I was born to be a wife because there's this passion inside me for it. And he said, do you think that there's a passion that you could put in or that other energies or forces put into you? I say yes. They're good spirits and bad, and then they're my own. And they can pour into me. It's just a matter of me deciding if what I want to do with it or not. I've discerned the difference between a passion that I have and a passion that God has given me. And I've learned that my desire for marriage is bigger than me. I wasn't born with it, but when I experienced it, it ignited something in me. And everything that I do in preparation, all the knowledge and everything that I've obtained is not just to help other people who are married or divorced or separated or single, but it's going to be used for me. I feel as though I was born or created for one of many things, but marriage is one of them. God doesn't put something like that in you and doesn't want to fulfill it. I learned that from my grandmother. I said, one of the reasons I know it's not of me, because there have been times where I wanted so bad that it hurts and I can't get rid of it. And sometimes I would beg God, remove this desire from me because it's strong and it hurts. Because if it came from me, I would have let it go. But it didn't. And I've got to repent for those times where I asked God to remove that desire from me, because it is a gift. And I think that if God removed it from me, I would be devastated. But it's one of those things where you're sitting in the moment and it's just like, God, this is just too much for me. Like Jesus, when he was on the cross, like he knew this was his job, his responsibility, his duty. But he even then had a moment where he asked God to remove it, because at that moment, it was the worst experience of his life. So we have those moments. And God understands that it's coming from a painful place in our heart and not from the purest part of our heart. And so I was telling him the difference between things that are pure and things that are not. And those things that are pure come from God. They don't come from me. I can have pure intentions, but I can't create purity. I'm sorry, I just can't. I think that only God can create that. And so for me, it made me stop and think about passions and desires and things that are beyond my control and how they come from God. And so I want to talk about what marriage looks like for me. To me, marriage is bigger than me. Marriage is not just two people coming together for status, a contract. It's about hard times and good. It's about loving an ever-evolving person. It's about praying that someone will love you as you continue to evolve. It's about those dark times where you look and you hold someone's hand and you're glad that they went through that with you, because you honestly don't know if you could have went through that moment by yourself. It's about companionship, because for me, that's the core of my desire, is companionship. And marriage can be tricky because you can fall in and out of it. And there are going to be times where you may fall in and out of love with your spouse, but there has to be something deeper that keeps you. Talk to married couples, and some have said that, they would like to be more intimate with their spouse. For whatever reason, they're not, but there's still something between them that keeps them. When the physical is not as strong, there's got to be a core. There's got to be a reason why that candle is still lit, that there's a fire for that person. And I don't know if the people in my generation even have a clue as to what this means. Because a lot of the guys my age talk about the sex and how the sex is going to end eventually. Well, that ends if you make it end. It's almost like they put the responsibility on the woman, because sometimes women, we don't want it and guys are always ready, but sometimes we don't want it because what are you doing to make us want you? So a lot of times they look at women to be the ones who are responsible for it, because I get it, because it doesn't start without our consent. We have a lot of control, and I understand that, and I get why they would think that. But when you're married, this is a partnership. We both have to figure this out together. You can't just put that all on me. You know? That's a story for another day. God forbid the man suffers from ED. You gonna look at her like that's her fault too? Not that it's your fault. It's your body. It's life. But people don't look at the long term, the intimacy that is supposed to be one of the foundations in marriage, friendship and intimacy. There'll be a day where I just don't like you, but you're still my friend. I don't like you, but there's still something there. You know? For me, marriage is the having someone to come home to, or come home with, or to come home to see me and our family. For me, that's what marriage is. It's about acceptance. It's about someone holding me accountable, and it's going to make me mad, but it's necessary. It's about an extension of God on a daily basis, someone that He has chosen to speak into my life, to be my protector and provider on this earth. My husband is an extension of God in a more intimate way, of which no one else on earth will be able to understand but the three of us. To me, that's what marriage looks like. It's about journeys and experiences, first time and many, together with one person. And for some of y'all, could be more than one. That's your business. But to me, and these things sound beautiful, but they are going to be scattered. It's not going to be continued every day. But these are the core things that I would hope would keep me bound to my husband. So I think that's it. This was not as great as the very first time it came out of my heart. So I'm trying to think back on what marriage looks like for me. But I think the cores for me are friendship, intimacy, and acceptance. Someone who knows the all of me, the ins and outs, good, bad, indifferent, and ugly. And you still choose to be with me because the good outweigh the bad and take away some of the frustration of the indifferent, and maybe, hopefully, for a moment, get rid of the ugly. So for me, those are the things that I want, and love, of course, and all that it entails. And that's what marriage means to me. This video wasn't as long as I thought it would be. I thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.